Why do we sit here being silent, watching our leaders turn into tyrants? Have they forgotten which side they're fighting for? Checks and balances set aside and rule of laws, youth and ours, and Constitution openly ignored. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Is it time for right and left to join a greater cause? Man, I'm not okay. The rich claim to be victimized just to attack the marginalized. Is 1% really worth more than all the sick and poor? Always preaching about fellowship while planning their dictatorship. Now we've seen how all of this plays out before. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call. Man, I'm not okay. Ever wonder all the mystery? Why they whitewash our history? Keep dividing is their plan. All in all, such a scam. Algorithm very sly, only used to spread the lies. Politicians know well, hate is simple to upsell. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call.
We are not okay. America is not okay, and we all know that. Former Congressman Joe Walsh, this is The Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Let's figure out how to get okay together. Hey, just a bit of a quiet, sad lament this morning. That's all I've got. Just a subdued rant. I'm so tired of the dishonesty. Trump and everybody in his orbit, they just lie all the time. We've never seen anything like this. We've never had a public figure, a political leader, a president lie every time he opens his mouth. I remember having this conversation a year ago with a friend at a wedding. And we're still friends. He's a big Trump supporter. He thinks I'm just wacko and crazy for what I've done the past 7 years. But I'll never forget, near the end of the night, we're both drinking a little bit, and he comes up to me and puts his arm around me and says, Joe, man, look, I think it's crazy what you're doing, right? All that. But man, quit saying Trump lies every time he opens his mouth. Quit saying that Trump lies a lot. Just, Joe, stop that. Stop saying that Trump lies all the time. I had no response for him. I just quietly walked away. And it made me so sad that this strong Trump supporter did not see how much Trump lied. I've said repeatedly that Donald Trump's greatest legacy is the destruction of truth. His entire persona right now is based upon one great big lie, that the 2020 election was stolen. And here we are 6 years later. And damn near every member of my former political party echoes that stolen election lie. Everybody in MAGA world, everybody in right-wing media continues to echo it, and the whole MAGA base still believes it. 70 some, almost 80% in some polls, percent of Republican voters still believe the 2020 election was stolen. Think about that. One of our two major political parties, damn near 80% of people who vote as Republicans believe that lie still. It's just the dishonesty. Like put your policy differences aside. Put our policy disagreements aside. You may love what Trump does. And you and I will never agree on most of what Trump does. But it's a really bad place to be in this country now. Where so many Americans are untethered to truth. Where the leader of one of our two major political parties lies as he breathes. We don't talk about this enough. We've utterly normalized his dishonesty. He's succeeded. He has succeeded in getting the vast majority of one of our two major political parties to believe all his lies, to believe the stolen election lies, to believe they're eating cats and dogs lies. I wrote down a list. I could spend the next 2 hours going down and reciting his 2,000 most prominent lies. And we've normalized it. The media's normalized it. Damn the media. Damn you, CNN. Damn you, MS Now. Damn you. Forget about Fox News because they lie with him. They embrace his lies or they ignore his lies. But everybody else in the media stopped a long time ago. And I criticize the media constantly for normalizing his dishonesty. In their defense, they just quit. They became overwhelmed. The CNNs of the world, the New York Times and Washington Post of the world, the mainstream media, whatever's left of it, of the world, they quit a long time ago. And you can kind of understand why. Every day when you cover this guy, 1,000 times a day, he'll throw a lie against the wall. How do you cover that? How do you cover that? If I was running for office right now and I told a bald-faced lie, it would be news. When Joe Biden, when any other politician lies, think about this. It's news. When Trump lies, it's nothing. Now, why is that? It's because we've normalized his lies. We've come to accept it. If I had $1 for every time a Trump supporter said, Joe, that's just who he is. Man, a country's in a really bad place when we don't draw our red line here. before we even get into what's going on at the border or what's going on between Putin and Ukraine, before we even get into the great policy debates that we've got in this country, our red line should be, my God, he's not telling the truth. You know, I used to go on TV a lot more, CNN and MS Now. I still do, but I used to go on a lot more. Part of the reason I don't go on is because I can't move beyond his lies. Like, you sit on these TV panels like I do, the TV talking heads like I often am, and the host, Jake Tapper or whoever, will bring up something Trump said, and then the talking heads need to analyze what Trump said, the good and the bad, what the political impact will be of what Trump said. And when it's my turn to speak, I'll just stop and say, hey, Jake, he's lying. Excuse me. Trump is lying again. Why are we analyzing the political impact of what he said when what he said is an absolute lie? I'll never forget, there was a time a couple months ago, Jake Tapper, who I love and respect. He's a great, fair, objective, tough journalist. But he had these two talking head panelists on. I wish I had been on this day. And they were analyzing something Trump said about Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. And Trump said something like, when he met with Wes Moore came up to him and said, Mr. President, you're the greatest. Thanks for coming to Maryland. I've been asking for you to come. Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything you're doing. Blah, blah, blah. You are the greatest. Trump literally on camera said that Wes Moore said that. And right away, Jake Tapper goes to these two political talking heads and asks them to analyze it. And will that help or hurt Wes Moore's political prospects if he wants to run for president? The fact that he was praising Donald Trump so glowingly. And they focused on this stuff when I wish I'd been on the show, because Trump lied. Wes Moore didn't say that about Trump. Wes Moore did not praise Trump, did not get down on his knees and said, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming to Maryland. You are an inspiration to our state. Trump said he said something like that. And these talking heads are analyzing what Trump said, the political impact for Wes Moore, right, to say this when it was all a lie. And if I had been on the TV set that day, I would have said, Jake, are you mad? What? Trump's lying. Why are you analyzing the political impact on Wes Moore? Wes Moore didn't say this. Why are we doing this? Stop. He lied. That's the beginning and ending of the story. That's why I don't go on CNN or MS Now as much anymore. Why am I going off on this tangent this morning? It turns out, we found out yesterday from the Epstein files that Steve Bannon, remember I said Trump lies as he breathes, and everybody in his orbit is just so dishonest. They all lie. And that should matter. Like, it should matter to the American people that we're being lied to. DHS and ICE have been caught in a boatload of lies the past number of months about what ICE is doing on the streets. People they pull over, people they detain, people they arrest. Just bonkers and bonkers of lies that DHS and ICE officials, agents, have said about American citizens they've arrested, about what they're doing on the streets, about immigrants they've detained. They've been caught in red-handed lies. Our government. Thousands of lies about what ICE is doing on the streets. Documented lies. When ICE and DHS, when they're hauled in front of a judge a month or so after they did something horrific in Minneapolis or Chicago, and they said, well, we arrested him because, and then they get in front of a judge a month later and they have to confess that they were wrong. Caught under oath in a lie. That should matter, my God, to every American with even an ounce of self-respect. No American, even the most Trump-loving American, come on now, should take being lied to like this. As I always say, you wouldn't be married to someone who lied to you as much as Trump lies to us. You would not do business with someone who lies as much as Trump. You would not work. You would never work for somebody. You would never be best friends with somebody who lied to you damn near every time they opened their mouths. But Trump, what the heck? But everybody in his orbit lies. Steve Bannon, we found out yesterday, in one of the Epstein files. You know, Steve Bannon, it turns out, was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein and was trying to help Epstein repair his sex trafficking reputation. Steve Bannon said, we got to help you get over this pedophilia thing. It's all right there in an email from Steve Bannon to Jeffrey Epstein. Again, the utter dishonesty of a guy like Steve Bannon, big MAGA guy, big Trump supporter, railed about the Epstein files, and there he is all over the Epstein files, pledging to help Epstein repair his image. Now, every one of you that listens to Steve Bannon, he's a big MAGA voice. How do you like me now? How do you like him now? Release the Epstein files, he screamed. He was one of those big Epstein scandal guys screaming before Trump got elected. Release all the Epstein files. It's the mother of all deep state scandals. Steve Bannon was one of those guys out there saying that. And we find out he was good buddies with Bannon. Still communicating with Bannon right up until the day Bannon died. Wanting to help Bannon repair his image as a pedophile. There's your big MAGA voice, MAGA. But we found out in another email yesterday from Steve Bannon to Jeffrey Epstein in 2018. We got that headline, Keith? I just want to see the headline. Steve Bannon told Jeffrey Epstein that Donald Trump should be removed from office via the 25th Amendment during Trump's first term. Thanks, Keith. There it is, right there for the world to see in an email from Bannon to Epstein. Trump's so fucking whacked, Epstein said. He's so bad and dangerous, Bannon said. He's so dangerous, Bannon said, and out of it, this was in 2018, Bannon told Epstein it's time for the 25th Amendment. He can no longer perform the duties of the office. He needs to be removed. That's what Steve Bannon was saying in private about Donald Trump. The same Donald Trump that Steve Bannon would go on his show every day still, or when he worked in the Trump administration, publicly defend and praise Trump every day. And then when he left the administration, his podcast, his show, Bannon's one of the big MAGA voices, and he goes on his show every single day and sings Trump's praises. And he said, what did he say? Bannon said a couple months ago, Trump's going to run for a third term, and he should run for a third term. He's the greatest. Trump said that on TV. Trump said that. I'm sorry. Whoo, too much coffee. Bannon said that on TV about Trump. Bannon said that repeatedly on his podcast. Donald Trump should run for a third term. He's gonna run for a third term. That's what Bannon says publicly about Trump. Privately, 25th Amendment. He's horrible, dangerous, whacked out, can no longer do his job. The dishonesty. And I know many of you will disagree with what I'm about to say. I feel so bad for Trump voters, for MAGA folk, for the people who listen to Bannon and the people who watch Fox News religiously, and worship Trump, and they're fed nothing but lies every day. And I feel bad for them. And I know plenty of you no longer feel bad for them because they're big boys and big girls. And if they can't sift through these lies, man, and there's plenty of evidence about the lies, man, every single day. And if they don't bother to sift through it, if they don't care about being lied to, then screw them, Joe. I hear that from plenty of folks on the left. That's not me. I still feel bad for them. So many MAGA voices do this. They say one thing about Trump privately, and then to their audience publicly, he's the greatest, they tell their audience. Tucker Carlson, remember, it was the same thing with Tucker. Tucker Carlson publicly, big Trump fan. Privately, I can't stand him. He's bad for the country. He's got to go. That's what Tucker Carlson said privately. That's what Tucker Carlson said under oath privately. Trump's the worst, Tucker Carlson said. Tucker Carlson believed for years. He's dangerous. He's got to go, man. He's bad for the movement. He's bad for the country. Tucker Carlson was caught saying all these things privately. Publicly, in his Fox News days, and still doing it, Trump's the greatest. The dishonesty should anger all of us. And any of my MAGA brothers and sisters with even an ounce of self-respect should infuriate you. Most of your big MAGA voices out there in the media, they're lying to you. And I say it a lot. I tell you a lot. I'll give you examples a lot. It should bother all of you. I'll never forget back in my right-wing radio talk show days, I could never lie, and I would always say the truth. And I eventually said the truth about Trump, and that's why I was no longer welcome in right-wing talk radio. But I'll never forget, I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, one of my talk radio colleagues, worked at Salem. We were all syndicated by Salem, and this guy is still at Salem. And I'll never forget, he's a syndicated talker still with Salem. And I'll never forget, he and I had a long private conversation about Trump. And he asked me, Joe, why are you critical of Trump? Why do you criticize Trump, things that Trump does? You know your audience, right? And my reply to him was really simple. I can only say what I believe. And if I believe Trump did something stupid, if I believe Trump lied, if I believe Trump did something dangerous, I'm going to say it. I can only say what I believe. But your audience isn't going to like it, he said. I said, I won't give you his name. I can only tell the truth. And then I asked him a question. I said, don't you do that on your radio show? on your right-wing talk radio show, don't you tell the truth to your audience? And I'll never forget his answer. He said, no, I tell my audience what I know they want to hear. That's my job. I said, whoa, really? He said, yeah, that's my job. They get enough criticism of Trump out there with the ABCs and the NBCs and the CBSs. This was 7-8 years ago, and the New York Timeses of the world and all of them, MSNBC, CNN. They criticize Trump. Man, that's not my job to criticize Trump. My job is to tell my audience what I know they want to hear. What I know they want to hear about Trump. I couldn't believe he was telling me this. He was a very successful syndicated talker back then. He's still got his syndicated talk radio show now. And I asked him, though, I said, even if you're lying to them, you'll tell them what they want to hear? And he said, yeah. And I said, even if you're telling them things about Trump that you don't believe, that's what you're going to do on your show? And he said, yes, because my audience wants to hear that. And I want to keep my audience, he told me. Well, I went home that night just seriously bummed out. But that's most everybody in right-wing media, in conservative media. Most of the talkers know that Trump is a dangerous, dishonest idiot, but they know what their audience wants to hear. The dishonesty that surrounds the whole right now, the world I come from now, more than any other trait. It's just dishonesty. I've told you before, most of my former Republican colleagues in Congress, certainly years ago when I came out against Trump, they all, damn near every one of them, privately thought Trump was a dangerous, unfit piece of shit. And they would tell me they can't say that publicly because they want to stay in office. They want to get elected. And many of my Republican colleagues still feel the same way. There are many Republicans now that are true believer crazies who believe the lies that Trump spreads. But when I saw this email from Bannon to Epstein, this was from 2018, calling for Trump to be removed from office via the 25th Amendment. The shit that people around Trump say privately and the shit they say publicly are completely at odds with each other. We just, as a country and as a people, we've normalized this. Trump's won. I said his greatest legacy is the destruction of truth. He's won. He's destroyed truth. It should be the red line for all of us. You want to talk about Greenland? You want to talk about Venezuela? You want to talk about the border? You want to talk about ICE? Fine. We'll get there. But But first, let's address the lies. Let's get rid of the lies and let's both be speaking truth. I can sit down with anybody. I do sit down. I travel the country and sit down with people who disagree with me. But man, when you begin that conversation, man, you got to respectfully be in the world of truth. And when somebody says the 2020 election was stolen or somebody spouts off another lie, I don't move beyond. I don't get into the rest of the conversation until we address that lie. Hey, Steve, let's sit down. Before we move on, let's take a look at the 2020 election. You've got to be tethered to the truth. You got to be somewhat of an honest broker for me to have a conversation with you. And right now, because of Trump and all his media cheerleaders and all of my cowardly former Republican colleagues, most of MAGA world, this is so sad, is untethered to truth. And I don't know how we come back from this. We've never had this before. Politicians lie. Politicians fudge. Politicians hedge. Politicians bullshit all the time. We've never, ever faced this before. A man who becomes president who's utterly untethered to truth, who lies as he breathes. We've never had this before. We don't know how to deal with it. The media stopped trying to deal with it, and it's become normalized. It's become normalized. I come into this studio every day in a mood, and that mood is going to dictate my show. And I just didn't feel this morning like talking about anything else. This is my red line. This should matter to every single American, no matter what your politics are. If a people is perfectly okay with being lied to, that is a people that deserves to be ruled by a lying authoritarian. I mean it. A people that accepts being lied to day after day after day is a people that deserves to be ruled over, to be treated like shit. That's a people that deserves every bad, cruel, un-American, anti-democratic, lawless, corrupt thing that Donald Trump does. Because too many of our fellow citizens have told Donald Trump and the people around Donald Trump, like Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, all the rest of them, too many of our fellow Americans have told Trump and his sycophants that it's perfectly okay that you lie to me all the time. I don't care or mind that you lie to me all the time. Thank you, sir. Give me another. Bend over. Give me another. Tell me another lie. Oh, man, the people that's okay with that is a people, sadly, that deserves to have a lawless dictator rule all over them and shit all over them. My hope and my prayer is that my fellow Americans wake up, and even if we disagree on a lot of policy, you'll draw the line on being lied to. You'll tell Steve Bannon to get lost. You'll tell Tucker Carlson. You'll tell any and all of Trump's cheerleaders to get lost, stop lying to me. And you'll tell Donald Trump, stop lying to me. That's my hope. That's my prayer. Thank you. Paxos.app. There it is right there. Paxos.app. Boom. There it is right there. Our AI-generated tool to help immigrants and citizens lawfully fight back against ICE. It's coming out within a matter of days. We're going to distribute it around the country. We're going to focus on Portland and Minneapolis as pilot cities to get this app in the hands of as many immigrants and citizens who need it and can use it to fight back lawfully against ICE. Go to Paxos.app, go to that GoFundMe page, read about it, give what you can, become part of this movement, and share that link. My Substack, Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Everything I do is there. My voice is there. If you want to help keep this little old voice out there, become a subscriber to Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Finally, shoot me an email, anything that's on your mind, good, bad, or ugly. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh, all one word. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh @gmail.com. Thanks. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, follow, and share The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple, Spotify. Plus, don't forget to subscribe to The Social Contract on Substack. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.